The brave officers of Conway, South Carolina protect and serve 22,761 people 365 days a year. Those officers represent the thin blue line between anarchy and society. What you are about to read is a dramatic retelling of Conway's most horrific crimes in remarkable detail. June 15th, 2018, 9 p.m. Wendy's 2462 HWY 501E. Conway, South Carolina 29526. Officer Black let out a puff of smoke, the wind gently carrying it away out the window of the unmarked cruiser. That day had been hot and humid. The air was heavy like a stew, every breath a laborious task. Fortunately, up until now the day had been slow for the detectives. Besides some paperwork, they had a light day. Since it was an hour from the end of shift, detectives White and Black decided to grab some dinner at a local Wendy's fast food establishment. White ordered a chicken sandwich with fries and chocolate frosty to dip said fries in. Black ordered a Dave's double with extra bacon added on, fries with sea salt, and a large Pepsi. As they waited in the drive-through line of Ford F-150 blazed by them on a street adjacent to the Wendy's, the detectives looked at each other and in unison said fuck it. They pulled up to the window and grabbed their food. Black flicked his cigarette out the window to focus on his meal. The greasy food and cold drinks made the two detectives forget about the oppressively warm and humid air. Approximately halfway through their meal, a call was sent out over radio. We've got a 10-62 on 5th Avenue behind the Title Maximum Title Loans. Detective Black bent over to reach the radio. He moved the microphone to his lips and responded, "Show us responding." White looked at Black with a face of disgust and muttered, "Are you fucking shitting me? We have 30 goddamn minutes left." Black looked over at White, nodded and said drive. White took his last few fries, rammed them down his throat along with a swig of his frosty. He put the Crown Vic in drive and blazed out of the parking lot. June 15th, 2018, 9:45 p.m. Title Maximum Title Loans parking lot across 5th Avenue. The detectives pulled into the parking lot. It was a chaotic scene. K9 units, patrol cars, bystanders, and police tape. A police helicopter hovered above the scene, its rotors making a deafening noise. The searchlight was blindingly intense as it darted back and forth around the area. Detectives White and Black approached the body. The smell of bloated necrotic flesh was overwhelming. She was a dark blonde, morbidly obese and unattractive woman, if you could even call it that. The only affectations she had on her was a used tampon, necklace and ring. The Jane Doe was completely naked with multiple lacerations and bullet holes strewn about her body. This was a crime of passion. Detective Black walked around the scene to look for clues, anything to get a start. Detective White started interviewing bystanders. Black walked around the lot until he found tire tracks. Black took out his phone and snapped a few pictures of the prints. They appeared to be on something like a pickup truck, too large for a sedan or sports vehicle. Detective White interviewed a few bystanders who had nothing of importance to the investigation. White walked over to a small Latino boy who was sitting on the ground, his head stuffed into his arms. White bent over and patted the boy on his head. White proceeded to say, "I'm Detective White with the Conway Police Department. What's your name, son?" The Latino boy picked up his head and looked at White. He was visibly distraught. Tears rolled down his face and his eyes were red from crying. Between sobs and breaths the boy uttered, "Carlitos." White looked at Carlitos and asked if he knew her. Carlitos nodded his head, and in a mix of crying and screaming he shouted out, "Brandy, Wings killed Brandy." The boy fell to his side and started crying. White picked up the boy and walked him to the car. White placed the boy in the back seat and covered him with his suit jacket to comfort the child. Detective White joined Detective Black next to Brandy's corpse. White looked at Black and then down at Brandy. He uttered, "We know who our Vic is. Brandy. Brandy in the alley."
This is Brandy. Yay! Did you say something, Brandy? They're all nervous.
What do you want me to say?
Brandy has pink bow ties. And she is so nervous right now. Look at her. And she's not 12.